Super Bowl 60 just ended, and it was one of the worst experiences I have ever had watching a Super Bowl. But first, I just want to say congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. You guys absolutely kicked the New England Patriots' ass. And I don't want to take away the Super Bowl win from you, but the entire experience of watching this Super Bowl, from the game to the commercials to the halftime show debacle, was one of the worst Super Bowl experiences I think I can remember in recent history. And I like to separate this in terms like a cake. The cake itself, the base, is the actual football game itself. The Super Bowl, the reason why there is a Super Bowl in the first place is because of the football game. That's the cake. The icing on the cake is the commercials. It's the tasty, very, flavorful and poppy, all that different stuff. Those are the commercials. Those are the stuff that you're going to remember for a long time after, the Super Bowl itself is long gone. And then you have the candles on the cake, and those are the Super Bowl halftime performances. So those are the terms that I'm dictating this, Super Bowl experience like, or at least metaphorically what it's like. And starting off with the cake itself, it was dry. The game was so boring. It was unbelievably boring. There's nothing going on the entire time. For about 4/5 of the game, nothing was happening. The Seattle Seahawks were absolutely dominating the New England Patriots. Now, Sam Darnold didn't really play that well. He was, 50% completions. He did have a touchdown, no turnovers. But again, there was just so many plays where both quarterbacks, Drake May and Sam Darnold, had wide open receivers and just could not hit them. Now, Sam Darnold played a lot better than what Drake May played, but again, it was just so boring, and neither teams on offense could really get it going. I would probably say the only two people throughout the entire two teams, the entire offenses of both teams, only two people really had great games. That was Cooper Kupp, who helped the Rams win their Super Bowl in 2021, and Kenneth Walker, also for the Seahawks, who had an absolutely outstanding performance, and he ended up becoming the MVP of this Super Bowl 60. So again, there was only really two good performances on both sides offensively throughout the entire game. And really the MVP of the Super Bowl goes to Seattle's defense. They absolutely dominated this game. But again, for 4/5 of this game, it was virtually a snooze fest. Nothing was happening. The New England Patriots could not do a damn thing offensively. Now, I know some of you in the comments are going to be saying, well, it was a great game because the Seattle Seahawks defense was an absolutely awesome beast. They were stifling everything that the New England Patriots were trying to do offensively, and you know what? That makes it a good football game. But in terms of entertainment, which is what the Super Bowl really is about, guys, I understand that a lot of people want it to be about the football. It's not about the football, at least not entirely. It's about the experience, the entertainment, all of that goes with the football game. And again, if you think about it in terms like a cake, the cake itself, the base was dry as hell. It was boring. And a lot of people, including the people that I was with in my Super Bowl party, were essentially tuned off and turned off to the game and just really tuned out the game itself. And I just thought that was one of the worst Super Bowls I could probably think about. It probably ranks up there with the 10-3 New England Patriots LA Rams Super Bowl that we got in 2019, 2018. It's probably up there with one of the worst in terms of modern Super Bowls that we have had. But now we probably get to the worst portion of the Super Bowl experience, which was the commercials. And if there was a phrase that could sum up the entirety of the commercials and the problems that I had with the commercials, it would be AI slop. And now, why would I say it's AI slop? Because there were so many AI companies who had commercials in this Super Bowl. And there were so many that many people in my Super Bowl party were literally sick and tired and saying, another AI commercial? That's another AI commercial? I was saying it throughout the entire time. I'm like, that's AI. That's an AI commercial. That's an AI commercial. There were so many AI companies who had commercials during the Super Bowl. It was outrageous. And I wanted to look up how many AI companies actually had commercials during the Super Bowl, and I found a Reddit post who kept count of how many AI AI commercials there were during the Super Bowl. And there were, to their count, 16 commercials that had to do with AI companies. 16! And that was not even before the game ended. That was with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So taking 16 commercials into account, and then you add the cost of a commercial during the Super Bowl, which is this year, according to CNBC, roughly $8 to $10 million, you are looking at $128 million to $160 million of commercials being bought for the AI slop industry. That is insane. What was insane is that you had like AI commercial for vodka, you had AI commercial for Alexa Plus, you had an AI commercial for Google and for Meta, and for every single other company. It felt like there was some sense of an AI commercial. It was some sort of an AI commercial. And over 16 commercials, when an industry alone spends $130 to $160 million. Now I understand that amount of money is literally nothing to the AI industry. They can literally sneeze and like $10 billion comes out of their nose when they sneeze, okay? So $100 million is really nothing in their pocketbooks. But again, you have over 16 commercials of AI when a lot of people are turned off to AI. AI data centers especially are causing a lot of harm to a lot of different communities around the United States and really around the world. When you have tech CEOs and AI CEOs who are talking about the dangers of AI and how it could potentially wipe out humanity as we see, as we know it right now, it's just insane that they thought that they could spend over almost $175 million on commercials to try and normalize AI. And everybody in my Super Bowl party was absolutely sick of the AI commercials. It was insane. And the other issues with the commercials is that there weren't really that many interesting or funny commercials. Like, there's a lot of things about Super Bowl commercials that make the Super Bowl experience even more enjoyable. That's why I say it's the icing on top of the cake. You always remember like the Doritos commercials from back in the day, or the E-Trade Baby or whatever, or the Clydesdale horses from Budweiser. There's always some different, brand or company that makes commercials for the Super Bowl that you will always remember, right? And this one really only had probably one funny commercial throughout the entire time, in my opinion, which was probably the Instacart commercial with Benson Boone and Ben Stiller, where he does a backflip and absolutely eats shit. That was probably the funniest commercial of the entire night, which was a train wreck because this whole thing lasted probably around 4.5 hours. And then we get to probably the most entertaining part of the night and probably the most controversial, which shouldn't even be controversial, but yet people make it controversial, which is the halftime show. And the reason why it's controversial is because Bad Bunny was the performer for tonight's Super Bowl. He's primarily a Latin artist. He sings primarily in Spanish. And a lot of people were interested to see how a primarily Spanish-speaking performer would perform his songs for a primarily English-speaking audience who watch the NFL. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really listen to Bad Bunny just because I don't really listen to music that I don't really understand the lyrics to. But in terms of performance and overall messaging, I thought it was a pretty good performance. I think his messaging was pretty interesting. I thought some of his performances and the sets that they had throughout the entire performance were very interesting, and the messages themselves were pretty interesting as well. I thought it was a really good performance, even though I don't really understand Spanish to the level that Bad Bunny is singing at. But then you had the other side that did not like the fact that a primarily Spanish-speaking artist was the headline act for the Super Bowl, and so they decided to make their own halftime show, which was the All-American halftime show, highlighted by Kid Rock and a bunch of other conservative country artists. And they had their own halftime show and streamed it live at the same time that Bad Bunny was doing his halftime performance. And I was flipping back and forth between both Bad Bunny's performance and the Turning Point USA performance. And I saw that around 4.7 million people were live viewing the Turning Point USA performance. I didn't necessarily listen to any of the performers during the Turning Point USA performance, but I did see some videos that some people were watching the live stream, and the Turning Point USA chat where they were streaming from wasn't moving at all, despite it saying that it had like around 4.8, 4.9 to 5 million viewers, live viewers. So that was interesting. So some people are thinking that maybe they could have view-botted their live stream. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But again, that was probably the only entertaining part of the night, was going back and forth between the different halftime shows between Bad Bunny and between Turning Point USA, between watching Kid Rock try and, come out to pyrotechnics like Batista with a giant American flag falling behind him, or Bad Bunny talking about, his Grammy and giving it to an ICE victim. That was the two most entertaining parts of the night. And again, that's a really bad sign when the whole thing is about the Super Bowl. It's about, the game itself. When the game is boring, the commercials are boring, and the only entertaining part of the night is the debate between your performer, which is Bad Bunny, the NFL's performer, and the debate, contradictory side who wants a different performer, and so they create their own halftime show. When you have that debate being the most entertaining part of the night, that's an issue. Just to recap, to conclude this video, the game itself was a very boring football game. It was a very boring game. The New England Patriots looked like they were overmatched, just unprepared, overmatched, and clearly Drake May had the yips. The good thing for you Patriots fans is that he's only 23. It's only his second year in the league. He could probably go back to the Super Bowl in a couple of years and you guys will win another trophy. But again, it just showed that Seattle's defense was absolutely insane. Drake May had the yips. It happens sometimes. New England, I think you guys are in good hands. Seattle, congratulations on your second Super Bowl win. But again, the experience of the Super Bowl itself was absolutely abysmal. The commercials sucked, the game itself was not entertaining, and the only entertaining part of this experience during the Super Bowl was the debate and the conversation between the Bad Bunny performance for the NFL and the Turning Point USA performance for the other side of the political aisle, should we say. And once that is the most entertaining part, and probably the only thing that people are going to remember years from now, is the two different halftime shows for this Super Bowl, that's an issue. And to me, that just shows that this Super Bowl, Super Bowl 60, was the most boring and worst Super Bowl experience of the last 25 years. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What was your Super Bowl experience like for this game? Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, if you guys want more content like this, and if you guys like this video and want to see more videos, please watch this video right here at the bottom of your screen. If you guys like this content, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button so you guys want more, to tell me that you guys want more content like this, and I will see you guys all in another video. Take care, everybody.